between the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. And now let's meet the starting lineups. For Georgia Tech at forward, a 6'8" junior from Reston, Virginia, number 4, Dennis Scott. For UNLV at forward, a 6'8" junior from Pasadena, California, number 32, Stacy Augman. For Georgia Tech at forward, a 6'10" freshman from Chattanooga, Tennessee, number 32, Malcolm Mackey. For UNLV at forward, a 6'7" junior from Dallas, Texas, number 4, Larry Johnson. For Georgia Tech at center, a 6'9" senior from High Point, North Carolina, number 44, Johnny McNeil. For UNLV at center, a 6'10" senior from Washington, D.C., number 00, David Butler. For Georgia Tech at guard, a 6'4" senior from Smyrna, Georgia, number 13, Brian Oliver. For UNLV at guard, a 6'1½ sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 12, Anderson Hunt. For Georgia Tech at guard, a 6'2" freshman from Rego Park, New York, number 12, Kenny Anderson. For UNLV at guard, a 6'2" junior from Las Vegas, Nevada, number 50, Greg Anthony. And introducing the head coaches for Georgia Tech in his 9th season, Bobby Cremens. For UNLV in his 17th season, Jerry Tarkanian.
Tarkanian in his 3rd Final Four, but he is still searching for that first elusive championship. Back with the tip-off.
Get ready for the incredible. The cashback offer on new 1990 Cutlass Supremes has just been doubled. That's right. Now get $2,000 cash back on the all-new Cutlass Supreme 4-door or Cutlass Supreme Coupe.
This is the new generation.
Double cash back. Get up to $2,000 cash back plus an additional $600 for qualified first-time buyers. See your Olds dealer by May 2nd for great deals on a new Cutlass Supreme.
This is the new generation.
Rock and roll is okay, but I prefer rap.
Awesome. Wait a second. Shady Acres was supposed to get the Coke, and the frat house was supposed to get the Pepsi.
Coke, Pepsi, what's the difference?
I-24.
This is radical.
You could call one company to take your package to an address across town. And you could find somebody to take your package to any address cross-country. Then you could call a third outfit that could take your package overseas. And yet another that could take your package overnight. But there's only one company you could call if you only wanted to make one call.
Referee Jim Bain of Mattoon, Illinois, will work alongside Dick Papero of Syracuse and Jim Stupin of Cypress, California. And in their dark road uniforms, Georgia Tech ready to do battle with the favorite to win it all, the Runnin' Rebs of Vegas in their white. Tap controlled by Georgia Tech. And that was Mackey, who strongly went back after it, number 32. One of the anonymous 2. Mackey and Johnny McNeil down on the blocks. The Wizard Anderson gives it up to the top. Oliver and Scott is for being tracked by Augman on the left side. Has not yet touched it.
You see UNLV switching and Butler playing Kenny Anderson, and Butler can play a man that far with a great foot movement.
Anderson missing the game's first shot. Anderson Hunt takes the 3, and he is short. Anderson will track it down now. Here's Oliver. Rolls in the first field goal of the game, and Georgia Tech jumps ahead.
If people have never seen Kenny Anderson play, that hit-ahead pass is one of his real trademarks. You have got to get back on defense. Straight man-to-man.
They go into Johnson, who sends it back, and Hunt goes to Augman with a beautiful pass and a tie. For a second, I thought he was going to arch another 3, but it was a fine pass. Anderson finds daylight in Oliver. Beautiful pass and a wraparound.
Very uncharacteristic of UNLV not to get back on defense. Hunt was fouled.
the roll on the field goal, and we're tied at 4, and Anderson coming right back. Hunt has taken Anderson. That's the first assignment in the game. Dennis Scott is the man that Georgia Tech needs to get involved early in this game. They don't want him looking for that field goal late. They drop it into him now. You're going to work on the inside and draw the foul. Brendan's first personal.
This is what has changed Dennis Scott from a player who could be guarded as a freshman when he only wanted to play in the perimeter. Now he takes you inside, and what he wants to do right away, I can see, he said, Augman, I don't think you're strong enough to handle me down on the blocks. So a smart move by Dennis Scott to take Augman inside and pick up the foul. Augman probably does have a quickness advantage out on the perimeter.
In the tournament, Scott had hit 21 of 26 free throws. Overall, an 80% free throw shooter. Just a little strong on that first one.
We saw Todd Day in the first game with a great release on the jumper. You'll see the same thing from Scott. Good double team.
They went to Anthony. They moved through Hunt. Open underneath is Augman, and tapped in by Johnson, the man they're going to have trouble with in this game.
Kenny Anderson got caught on the weak side. Look at that pass.
Found Mackey in low, and he hits the field goal.
We have not seen a passer like this on the college level in a long, long time.
Coming inside is Augman. Knocked away by Mackey. Now here comes Anderson. Now we got 2-on-2. This time Anthony has him. Off Oliver's hands and out of bounds for the turnover.
Now you see Kenny Anderson looking down the sidelines. How does he see the whole floor? I mean, he knows where everybody is at every second. Great vision. Johnson's got McNeil down low, really using that wide body.
Hunt's second three. Off the glass. Had to call it in a horse, right?
No. In a game of horse, that one doesn't count. But in basketball, it goes. That could build Anderson Hunt's confidence, and that would be a real key to the game.
Coming off the dribble, changing hands, Kenny Anderson, the wizard from New York. Now he gets back to the other side of the floor and knocks the ball out of bounds.
Here's what I'm talking about, Brent. That shot was designed to go directly in the basket. So Hunt was off, but he wasn't off.
The player who's been impressive in the early going is Mackey. We don't know about Anderson, but he's holding his own against Butler right down there on the low blocks. They get to Augman, though, and they're having a matchup problem with Stacey Augman in low, and it's 11-9 Las Vegas.
And that's Dennis Scott's man, so he is having problems there. Straight man-to-man by UNLV. Georgia Tech will change up.
Oliver, after the gamble fails, misses the shot. And Butler with that familiar yell as he yanks down a rebound. Augman runs the floor beautifully.
Well, we pointed it out last week. There's nobody finishes the fast break like Augman does on the college level.
Now it is Scott misfiring, and foul underneath is going to be on Oliver. One of the things, if Augman's going to get involved low in the offense that much, Scott will be open down here at the other end.
Exactly. What the old term Gussie hanging is exactly what Dennis Scott did on Stacey that time. You want to go down and take two, I'll go the other end and get three.
Now the defensive specialist, Carl Brown, has checked in, and Mackey is conferring over there with Coach Crimmins. And Bobby undoubtedly wants him to switch off on Augman when he gets free down low, and he's changing up. Brown, somewhat small, is a terrific defensive player, and there's a 3-second violation.
Now, Brent, this is the small team for Georgia Tech. Dennis Scott now will play Butler, and this puts Johnny McNeil stays right where he was, and the team will be small. Oliver will have to take Stacey Augman.
13-9. The running Rebs break on top. McNeil the screen. Scott in low, and he traveled. We've got a timeout. 15-54, 13-9, the Rebs.
When issues of agility and precision take on special urgency, we recommend the BMW 5 Series. Its unparalleled defense system is designed to help you emerge unscathed from a hostile world.
I got a phone call this morning from one of our oldest customers. He fired us. After 20 years, he fired us. Said he didn't know us anymore. I think I know why. We used to do business with a handshake, face to face. Now it's a phone call and a fax. Get back to you later. With another fax, probably. Well, folks, some things gotta change. That's why we're gonna set out for a little face-to-face chat with every customer we have.
But Ben, that's got to be over 200 cities.
I don't care. Thanks.
If you're the kind of business that still believes personal service deserves a lot more than lip service, welcome to United.
Lewis.
That's the way we've been doing business for over 60 years.
Ben, where are you going? To visit that old friend who fired us this morning.
United. Come fly the friendly skies.
At 12, he defied his family and became America's youngest war hero. Then he paid the price.
They think I deserted.
Rick Schroeder in Too Young a Hero, Sunday.
Georgia, the second ACC team to reach the Final Four, and this is the road they traveled to get here. They fell behind LSU early, you might remember. A dramatic overtime and a controversial one against Michigan State. As for UNLV, first they started in Salt Lake. Then they moved down to Oakland, and Ball State had an opportunity to knock them out before they put Loyola Marymount away by 30 points. And wasn't that a marvelous story that was turned in by the young men of Loyola Marymount after the death of their star Hank Gathers, taking it all the way to a regional final before they were outmanned by this Run and Rev team that now has taken a 13-9 lead on Georgia Tech.
High-low post now. Butler and Johnson trying to work.
Ogman rims out. Georgia Tech going hard, had two men. Oliver down in the fourth, quickly back up, and this is Brown.
McNeil with a strong rebound there. Had a season high of 15. Another great pass.
Scott down low, and he's going to come up to that free throw line. Butler down on the inside. Gets his first personal.
Brent, as opposed to the first game today, the tempo much slower in this game, which I really think at this point, even though Georgia Tech's behind, is much to their favor. And Arkansas forced tempo, forced Duke to have to go to the bench. So far, UNLV is not doing that. What may be the reason, Jerry Tarkanian may say, I don't want to put too much pressure because Kenny Anderson can beat my best. And if he does, they'll have 3-on-1 breaks. Scott cool so far.
Anthony dueling with Brown as he brings it up now for the Rebs. Getting it into Butler. A collision, and a foul is going to be called on Anthony.
Now that was just a little one-on-one confrontation between Anthony and Brown. Brown was trying to do the same thing to him down the other end. You could see that. Stepped out there, not a wise move by Anthony.
And Anthony is a tough young point guard for the Rebels who suffered a broken jaw and didn't miss a single game.
UNLV goes to their zone defense now. And Dennis Scott will look to find a hole somewhere beyond the zone. Great steal.
Ogman, 3-on-1. They break out. Hunt gives it back to Ogman. And he'll come on up to the free throw line. Scored. And a chance to complete the three-point play for number 32, member of the United States Olympic team, which lost to the Russians in Seoul, Korea. Now will come to the line.
We'll see the steal here, and so far Oliver has not been sharp. Ogman just steals the ball, and when he goes on the break, everybody on his club knows what a great finisher Stacy is. That time he used the left hand, but can use the right hand as well.
An 8-point UNLV lead in the early going, and 9 by Stacey Ogman, who's doing it at both ends of the floor. He has shut down Scott in the field, and he's contributing offensively. McNeil will have to take the shot.
McNeil has had a very, very fine NCAA tournament, scoring more than we give him credit for. Or Brown will get right up in there on Anthony. tough defender.
The three. Anthony's first field goal of the game. Each of the Reb starters has hit a field goal here in the early going. It's 21-12, UNLV, showing everyone why they're the power team to be reckoned with. Back comes Scott, and he nails his first three. 5 for the game.
I don't think that 1-3-1 zone and that amoeba zone is going to do much for Scott, because he'll go down outside the extension of the zone and take that three-pointer.
Brown's first personal. Mackey returning. And Moses Scurry, number 35, checking in for the first time for UNLV. Butler will sit down. Johnson.
Beautiful step-in move. So far, Georgia Tech has just not been able to stop them on their defensive end of the floor. Goes Scott again, looking for that corner. Augman realized it.
Augman's so quick with that great reach. Jumps out of that zone on Scott. Now Dennis will run the baseline. Tried to get it inside, and Scurry was in the passing lane, but Scott gets it back. Now he'll come back down on Anthony. Tap back into the hands of Mackey.
Smart play by Dennis Scott.
23-17.
Strictly a game of offense. Neither team figuring out a way to shut down the opponent.
Johnson missing. Scott coming out with the rebound. Gets it into Anderson's hands. Anderson will come right around Anthony. Gives it back to Scott. Well, when you need 2 points in a close game and you got Kenny Anderson bringing it down the floor, you're just about unstoppable if you get numbers in your favor. And it goes over. Anthony. And on the inside is where that personal is going to be called. That's Scurry, who gets his first personal. So it was not Anthony. And now Georgia Tech will bring in Darryl Barnes, a 6'8 freshman, and see how he will hold up on the inside as Butler has returned and Johnson sits down and Vegas gets back in this zone.
It's the amoeba defense. A little matching up out front. A one-celled animal that changes its shape to destroy the enemy. That's what Buzz Riddle told me was how the amoeba was named. Former great coach at Pittsburgh.
Anderson, daylight, good shooter. It's a 2-point game. Georgia Tech right back as they put up 6 straight points. And Anthony having some problems down here.
Brown is the kind of guy just aggravates you because of his great tenacity on defense.
Now Butler has it knocked away by Scott on the inside, and Barnes wraps it up, and the Ramblin' Wreck can tie it up.
No, don't try to cut off Kenny Anderson with the dribble. You know what he does to people, Brent? They're so used to being able to guard a man one-on-one with the dribble. He demoralized you when he puts the ball in his hands.
Like you pointed out, Billy, the pace of the game favoring Georgia Tech, even though they're behind. We're coming back.
I love this game. I love to win, and I have, in college and in the pros. So I've had some experience celebrating. And you know, the way you celebrate says as much about you as the winning does. So do it right. Be responsible. Take care of yourself and your friends. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Budweiser.
Anheuser-Busch, brewers of Budweiser, and the NCAA Foundation have joined together to fight the problem of alcohol abuse on America's college campuses. The Foundation and Anheuser-Busch will focus on the issue at the grassroots level to design effective on-campus programs and activities that promote personal responsibility and respect for the law. Anheuser-Busch and the NCAA, just one example of how people working together can take alcohol abuse head-on and make a difference.
It was the best of summers. A time when flat tops and neighborhoods were in. Going steady was still a big decision. And the Mazda Miata breezed into town. Nobody knew then they were looking at the car that would be named Automobile of the Year. But they were. The Mazda Miata, it just seemed to make everybody feel pretty pretty good.
Kenny Anderson played at Archbishop Malloy High School in New York City, and he was named All-City as a freshman, even though he never started a game or played in the first quarter. And he went on to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, who of course was Lou Alcindor's, a schoolboy in New York, and he broke his New York City scoring record. So we're looking at one of the young phenoms. Both teams shooting well, 69% for Tech, 67%. Cianovich, who had checked into the game, has the ball with Anthony, who had struggled early on, out of the game now. And Kenny strips him, and he'll come in for the layup to tie it. Oh, my. Here we go.
Stacy Cianovich, son of a coach, would be smart to give up that ball when he's being played by a defender of that caliber.
Yes, sir. Offensive foul on Cianovich. Backcourt problems for the Rebels.
Cianovich is trying to do more than he's capable of at this stage in the game. But with Greg Anthony out of there, Anderson Hunt wanting to break long for the three-point shots, Cianovich is the only primary ball handler.
16 fouls on Vegas, only 3 on Georgia Tech here in the early going. Scott now wants his 3 from NBA range.
Oh, way beyond. That's a 26-footer.
Now Cianovich under pressure from Brown. Georgia Tech up 3. Anderson back quickly to help out on Cianovich. They looking for the 5. They don't get it into the hands of Butler.
By pressing, they take the inside game completely away.
Hunt will try it off the penetration. One Butler knocked out of bounds by Scott. Vegas ball.
Jerry Tarkanian going to his bench early. Maybe he's saying, hey, this is going to be a long night. I'm going to use this bench, try to wear Georgia Tech down. But what he's not doing is creating the tempo in this game that would force Georgia Tech to have to go to their bench.
UNLV in this tournament, I believe, has never been behind by more than 4 or 5 points. They're down 3, and Anthony comes back in. Cianovich sits down. Anthony will take the ball out of bounds. Augman Johnson has returned. So the starting 5 for the Rebels back on the floor. And Georgia Tech playing with a little more confidence right now on the floor.
They've got the lob to Butler on a swing. It's a little bit too big on the lob for Dennis Scott.
Johnson, who's taken his game outside, hits a 3-point shot. I thought somebody said he couldn't hit from the perimeter.
Bobby Crimmins giving Anderson a break. Brown, a good ball handler as well.
Got inside a Hunt and hit the layup. 28-26, Georgia Tech.
Brent, those are big baskets when you bring a guy off the bench that is not going to be a scorer and he picks up 2 for you.
And then the turnover, and now Tech ball again with a 2-point lead.
So it looks like Bobby Crimmins is going to go to about an 8-man rotation here. Getting a lot of quality minutes out of Brown.
Bounce to Oliver inside of Anthony, and Butler away with the rebound. Long pass to Johnson.
Count it.
Layup. And he drew the foul from Mackey instead, so he'll come to the free throw line.
Pretty good foul by Mackey because Johnson down in low. He just cannot be contained. So strong. Look at the great hands he has. And not to walk on that play. Came to the good jump stop.
Larry Johnson, the junior college player of the year. Jerry Tarkanian himself was a JC player before he transferred, so he has always used a lot of them as Barry Young reports into the lineup. Johnson's out of Tyler, Texas. And I want you to take a look at this young man because he's built a little bit like one Lawrence Taylor. And he was an amateur boxer as a young man for 5 years. And I said, were you any good? And he said, I was a killer.
But we can't find any tapes.
There's no evidence, folks. I just passed that along. I don't know.
Well, I would say this.
If there's any home movies in Tyler, Texas, send it up to our producer, Bob Deacon.
That's right.
Tied at 28 now. 9:44 here in the first half.
Back to the man-to-man, which seems to be a better situation for Jerry Tarkanian's club. Keeps Dennis Scott.
Oliver with a beautiful spinning move for the layup. Now it's Hunt's turn. Tied, and now we're starting to warm to the task. Brown back for Tech. Scott will come outside with a three. 33-30 now, 9-14. Georgia Tech leads it. Butler knocked away beautifully on the inside.
Second time Scott's stolen the ball on the way up.
Oliver has it knocked out of bounds by Johnson. Georgia Tech ball. Johnny McNeil back for the Engineers, and both teams shooting well as Kenny Anderson comes back. 74% for Georgia Tech and 71 for UNLV.
Bobby Crimmins establishing his rotation now. Anderson realizes with Scott out, he's got to score more.
I want to stress again the pace of the game favoring Georgia Tech, because at this altitude, you don't want to get into a helter-skelter up and down with a light bench. As the pass was into McNeil, and he traveled. It's going to go over to UNLV. He turned it over.
Good idea by McNeil. However, he thought he had Larry Johnson going up in the air.
Butler.
Excellent step-away shot.
Well, let me ask you, have we got great shooting out here, or can't anybody play any defense?
I think we have great offensive performance here that are tough to guard.
Anderson comes inside and almost got it to fall. Long pass. Brown there with Hunt. The duel on the sideline, won by Hunt. They go to trap him in the corner. They got him
5
up
seconds.
over there.
Yes, sir.
Georgia Tech ball. Great defense. We've got a timeout. 8-10 first half. 33-32. Georgia Tech leads it by 1.
You've been staring out there all day. What are you doing?
Trying to figure out which computer is the most powerful.
Well, that's easy. The one with the most memory, megahertz, MIPS, you know.
No, I don't think so.
There we go.
I think the most powerful computer is the one that people actually use.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you look at computers.
But that's not really a fair comparison. People like using the Mac.
Every year, drivers are presented the usual assortment of compact cars. But by using Kansei engineering, Mazda has designed a compact car that doesn't feel like one, the Mazda Protégé. So while we may have created a new kind of car, it seems we also created a new kind of driver. The compact car enthusiast.
Come on, come on, come on. You'll be fine.
Did you know that even though your 800 service is working perfectly, something could keep you from getting calls? But only AT&T automatically covers you with our 800 assurance policy. Within 1 hour, we can reroute 800 calls to any working phone and any other office, guaranteed. Reliability, another AT&T advantage. Call today about our special 800 offer.
Stanford, Auburn. The battle for the national title, the NCAA Women's Basketball Championships, Sunday.
With Billy Becker, I'm Brent Musburger. There are the important numbers. Both teams blazing away. Billy, over there in that corner, when we thought that that was a 5-second, there was a timeout call. Let me ask you this. At this point in the game with 8:10 to go, are you better off taking the turnover in that situation or calling the timeout?
Well, it would have been a situation, jump ball situation. It would have been UNLV's ball. And it is an important thing to remember in games like this that we've seen in this tournament. Coaches love to have some timeouts available at the end with so many close games.
The Anonymous 2 have contributed 8.
And Bobby Crimmins goes back with his initial starting lineup. Still playing man-to-man.
Johnson wants it on the inside. McNeil leaning on him, doing a good job now as he comes free. They forced Johnson to the outside much of the game. Anthony, nice play.
Sensational play.
With the Rebs up by a point.
Anthony's kind of relegated himself to a different role than he anticipated playing when he came to UNLV, but he can score.
Mackey wants it down on the inside of this zone. Anderson comes inside. They closed in on him, and he just put it on the floor and burned him.
And Brent, he was looking to pass on that play and just stood up there and said, okay, you're going to let me have the shot, I'll take it.
Butler off the fake. McNeil rebounding, and here's Anderson again. He can see the whole floor. You know, the great ones like Wayne Gretzky and every other athlete, they just seem to see things that mere mortals don't. Oliver drawing the foul from Butler, and that is the second now on Butler.
The other thing I think is interesting about these three great scorers that Georgia Tech has, they don't force the play. They let the scoring come to them. Only one team has held all three below 20 in the same game. That was Virginia in the ACC championship that they played, but they're very patient with their offense.
17 fouls now on UNLV, so Georgia Tech shooting the 1-and-1 the rest of the way, and the Ramblin' Wreck with a couple of fouls to give here.
Brian Oliver, a player who had never played in a winning game in the ACC tournament, this year ends up the MVP in the tournament. You say, Brent, about 212, 215 pounds, rock solid.
They go to some pressure, and they get it into Hunt's hands. Jump shot won't roll, and Ogman taps it back in. 11 points for Stacey Ogman in the first half. Oh. Wanted Mackey, and the pass was too high and out of bounds. It'll go to the Rebs on the turnover.
One of the few times you see Kenny Anderson, though, pick up his dribble and allow himself to be in the double team. It's not infallible.
Leaning in, offensive foul.
We're not giving McNeil enough credit for his low post defense. Even though Larry Johnson scored some points, McNeil's holding his own.
Perhaps they didn't expect this.
Well, and here again we see UNLV not pressing this Georgia Tech team because of the respect they have in their ball handling. Dennis Scott wanting one, but he's on the side here with Ogman. He's not going to get his jumper on this side.
Oliver spins inside. Into McNeil's hands.
And that's where that 215 pounds of Oliver helped out, because he shocked the pack, knocked the ball loose.
Georgia Tech builds a three-point lead. Johnson loose on the inside, makes it one.
He's showing us some things in this game that we haven't seen out of him so far this year.
Inside to Mackey. Now from the perimeter, it'll be Anderson. The three. On the money for Kenny Anderson. 11 points in the first half.
A well-coached team. You notice how they made the clock was used up some as they surrounded that zone.
Hunt's three is on the money. Beautiful pass to Scott, and he drew the foul. He'll come to the line again.
And Jerry Tarkanian screaming to his team, get back. But you see, it's so tough. You're running back court. Anderson's coming up your back, and he makes those passes that you just don't see in a normal college game.
And he goes back to that bench. He'll try James Jones for a while.
Four's our shooter, big fella.
Bobby Crimmins over there with Oliver.
And Brent, you know, with so much publicity that goes in the game, with UNLV being a favorite by a lot of people, including myself, as a matter of fact, I think that they're stunned a little bit with the quality of their opponent.
Billy, is it fair to say they're not as focused as they were against Loyola Marymount in that regional final?
Without question. I think they were a little bit nervous going into that game, saying, hey, maybe we can't stop this team. They have come out today, and they don't have that same intensity level.
And continuing to play into Georgia Tech's hands. Not a real deep team over there, but getting the most out of everybody. 44-41. Tech with a lead inside of 5 minutes here first half. Hunt will come back with a three. Long rebound into McNeil's hands. And Anderson runs the floor. Now it's Scott. He'll take it out there. Is he phenomenal outside or what?
Well, see, he's out beyond where the normal college defense plays, so Stacey Augmon just couldn't get to him.
That's his 4th three-pointer of this Final Four game. No shot. And Scott committing his first personal.
Well, to put things in perspective as to what Dennis Scott has done, he has become the all-time single-season scoring leader in ACC history, taking away a record that stood all the way back since 1962, when one of my old teammates, Lenny Chappell, set it. So it's a special player on the offensive end.
UNLV will now try Travis Bice. He missed practice yesterday. He's been ailing with a bit of the flu, and Anderson Hunt sits down. 3-point shooting combined 9 of 14, 5 of 8 for Georgia Tech in this game. So both teams have been hot from the outside. Bice too has range, but Georgia Tech has built a 6-point lead here.
Now McNeil going out on Johnson a little higher.
Johnson coming to the inside, drew the foul, and he'll come up to the line. And now some words are being exchanged between Johnson and McNeil, and quickly Paparo steps into the middle of that huddle, and there's a 6-man huddle for you. They get Dickey in there, and he gives him the word.
But what Johnson has been doing has been taking McNeil outside, but because McNeil may be better than anybody we've seen play Johnson in the low post, is holding his ground there. He was voted in 1989 as USA Basketball's Athlete of the Year. Now that's some tribute to a fellow who had not even ever played one Division I game at that point.
Just buzzing around in the championship. (47-43), 4:18 first half. And Oliver bangs down 2 more. The shooting has been phenomenal here in the first half of this Final Four game.
When Jerry Tarkanian goes to halftime, I guarantee he's going to talk about getting back on defense and turning your head, not losing sight of the ball.
Brown commits the personal, and Anthony will come up to the free throw line. Really interesting that the ACC has defeated all the #1 seeds, and that's the 3, and of course UNLV would make it the clean sweep. Is Connecticut, Michigan State, and Oklahoma. And there are the young men who will take the floor Monday night to play the winner of this game for the championship. The Duke Blue Devils, who prevailed over Arkansas in game 1.
And if there's the most courageous player this year, there's Lindsey Howell sitting there. Has played his last game as a collegian. Remember, when you talk about Greg Anthony didn't miss a game despite that broken jaw. Showed great leadership coming right back at practice. Wants a clear out. He wants part of Brown. Good hedge move that time by Scott.
Now the officials have let him play a little bit more in this game, down on the inside blocks. That's a different kind of officiated game, and so McNeil's able to lean on Johnson down in there. Bice trying to get Butler involved. Anderson reaches behind it, get it to Butler on the turnaround. That's his shot.
David Butler was the nation's best junior college player 2 years ago, and that little fadeaway jumper is working very well for him. He's actually having more success in the low post than was Larry Johnson.
Scott, short that time. Augmon off with the rebound. Georgia Tech back on defense in a hurry, not giving them easy baskets. Butler again the turnaround, and Scott is fouled. That was Augmon coming through, and that's his second personal here of the half. They've been over the limit for some time. Mackey and Johnson will return soon.
Both coaches substituting much different than we saw in the first game. And Brent, I think the reason for that, the first game was so physical, a lot of body contact, everybody checking on every foul, on every shot that went up on the boards. And those teams wore down much more than these teams are.
Let's check in on Lethal Weapon. What percentage of the 80%? 18, 10, and 11. But let's not overlook the rest of this team. Billy, you told me that McNeil was a pretty good player, and he's been impressive here in the first half defensively.
And so has Brown. Only has 2 points, but he's been doing the job, making Greg Anthony really work.
51-46, 2:54. Georgia Tech stands up and said, don't count us out too quickly, folks. So we'll be right back.
Anti-lock braking systems, all-wheel drive, fuel-injected multi-valve engines, dent-resistant composite body panels, a turbocharged intercooled V6 engine. Only one car company in the world can put all this technology in one showroom. Pontiac, of course.
Every evening, we pack over 700,000 passengers onto our planes. No drinks are served. No meals are prepared. Yet our customers love our service, like our UPS Next Day Air Letter. Guaranteed overnight delivery to any address coast to coast. And at just $9, far less than other companies charge.
Set takeoff thrust.
No one seems to mind that there's no in-flight movie.
If you find that 2 hours of mowing your lawn feels like this, test drive the new Honda Hydrostatic Transmission Lawn Tractor and put the old tractor out to pasture.
Is your car shaking, rattling, or rolling? Whether it's alignment, shocks, or struts, Midas uses top technology to diagnose the problem and top technicians to fix it. For suspension or alignment, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Meanwhile, back at Duke University, they have lined up awaiting tickets for next year's North Carolina game. The celebration is underway. 97-83. Duke advances to Monday night's title game, and there are some of their heroes. And here, a surprise, 51-46. This is the first time that UNLV has trailed by as many as 5 points in the entire NCAA tournament. Hunt, Anthony, and Augman with a knee wrap. He took a bump to the knee, and that left knee now has a different wrap on it than when he started the game, and he's had some difficulty with his mobility in the last couple of minutes.
There's Scott playing Johnson down low, and they just don't get him the ball.
Mackey leaning away on Butler, and again they don't ship it on the inside. Now they get to him, and they play catch with Anthony. They need that shot to loosen things up, and they're not getting it. Anderson flips, and Oliver does get the handle, comes up, and Butler wraps it away out of bounds. Georgia Tech ball. Oh, another pass. You got to be aware all the time. There's the knee, the left knee, Stacey Augman.
Brett, the only person I've seen make the two-handed chest pass from as long a distance as accurately as Anderson does is Magic Johnson. That ball was thrown a good 35 feet right on the money.
And now it goes over to Vegas. Johnson will have the ball out of bounds. They trail it by 5, 2 minutes in the first half.
Again, watch Dennis Scott and Johnson down in the low post. Scott trying to use that upper leg to hold him off.
Into Johnson, who muscles his way in, is short that time. Anderson comes out now. UNLV back defensively. Kenny will pull it out and nail it himself. That's 13. 20 for Scott, 10 for Oliver. He's also thrown 5 assists.
Good double down by Brown on Johnson.
Augman gets it to Butler, and it's knocked away again.
Third time Scott has stolen the ball on the jump shot.
Off off Augman's hands.
Now, Larry Johnson and Dennis Scott did not cross half court that time. They stayed back. I think they're starting to feel it. The minute and 18 to go till halftime, and neither coach wants to take the race out.
But the officials ruled it was not off Augman's hands. So it goes over to UNLV at 1:15, 53-46.
Straight man-to-man, but dropping way back inside.
Not there, and Scott with the rebound.
Anderson, Hunt, and Greg Anthony are going to have to prove they can make some jump shots. They're back to the amoeba defense now. I think Jerry Tarkanian, Brent, has shown too much respect for Kenny Anderson. And they did not go out and press Georgia Tech, and therefore they didn't wear him down in this first half.
Very well rested.
Yes, sir. Dennis Scott within shooting range. Half court.
About 16
against the Duke students. He took the ball out to half court and said, I can make one here in practice, and drilled it.
One thing they could try in the second half is put Augman on Anderson for a while. See what he could do with him. He's inside with time running out. Pulled away by Augman. 12 seconds. 53-46. UNLV behind. Hunt fires up a three.
Had plenty of time to get a better shot than that, but you can see Larry Johnson now exhausted, as is Butler. Both just grasping for air.
Billy, do you find UNLV playing a little out of desperation here?
I really do. I think that this game has shocked them a little bit. You can see Larry Johnson just bending over, trying to grab his breath.
Misfiring, and that's the first half. Everything going Georgia Tech's way. 13 for Kenny Anderson, 20 for Dennis Scott, and 10 for Brian Oliver. Lethal weapon 3. We're coming up with Jim Nance after this message and a word from your local station.
Sports coverage of this 1990 NCAA Basketball National Semifinal game is sponsored by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance, The Quiet Company, and by Diet Pepsi. Shoot for the great taste of Diet Pepsi, the right one.
You could use Armor All Protectant and keep your car in the garage. Or you could just keep your car in the garage. Of course, there are alternatives, but only Armor All works like Armor All.
Well, I was able to quit that old corporate grind and start my own business, because way back, we bought the right kind of life insurance.
You can too. Life insurance for living from Northwestern Mutual Life, the Quiet Company.
When? Friday? You're kidding. We're getting company from Russia.
Order me some Russian flags. 1,500. We'll make it 2,500.
And we're bringing into Hamilton on this route.
Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans, or a hedge forgotten.
Three years ago at this time, I introduced you to the tragic story of Mike Helms. He was a collegiate star with plenty of promise.
And Helms is a great shooter.
But his career path was blocked by drugs. Today, Mike Helms is finished serving his time. 5 years behind bars at this correctional facility. Now, with the support of his family, he is quietly making the difficult transition back into society.
Staying clean is the toughest thing I've ever done.
but I'm going to make it. And I'm going to try to reach out to the young people and help them avoid the same pitfalls that I have.
Hard-headedness cost Lynn Barnes his life. Cost Dexter Manley his...
Given another shot, Mike Helms is staging one of the greatest comebacks the game has ever seen.
Where there's help, there's hope.
This is CBS.
The only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Cadillac Seville STS for 1990. The acceleration of a new, more powerful V8 engine will press you against ultra-soft leather, while its exclusive touring suspension and standard anti-lock brakes will convince you this is an international touring sedan with very powerful credentials.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
They let you out of your cage for 3 whole days, and you're going to get as far away as you can. So you call a rent-a-car company that gives you a great weekend rate and free unlimited mileage.
Hurts were America's wheels.
We give you a lot of weekend for your money. That's why America made us #1.
Hurts were America's wheels. Hi.
It's a 7-point lead in the second national semifinal. Tech over UNLV. Dennis Scott with 20 points. Tech was down 9 early, but came firing back. 67% shooting from the floor in the first half. Speaking of being on fire, back in Durham at Duke University, they're building a bonfire, still celebrating the Blue Devils' victory earlier today here in Denver. 97-83. The Blue Devils Monday night will play for the national championship. Mike Francesa and I are pleased to be joined now by Mike Krzyzewski here at halftime. And Mike, you just mentioned to us how satisfying it is to get this team all the way to the championship game when no one expected to get that far.
Well, it's great because our team, a lot of people thought we were going to be in a rebuilding year, and then we got so much success that people thought we were better than what we were, and then they got down on us a little bit, and then in March our team's been very good.
Coach, let's take a look at some of the highlights from that victory against Arkansas. You led 46-43 at the half and then scored the first 8 points of the second half. Here's one of the buckets. Bricky on the tip from Leitner and the slam, and you led by 11. An 11-point lead in the second half. And frustrations for Nolan Richardson turned around quickly because the Razorbacks got razor sharp. Mayberry on the steal and slam, and Arkansas led by 7, 69-62. But the rest of the way, Duke outscored them 35-14. Brilliant spin move by Henderson. He was also fouled, and they're celebrating at Duke. You did it down the stretch again, Coach. This is a team, we've seen it in the tournament. You did it against St. John's down the stretch. UCLA, Connecticut, you came from behind in the overtime. What do you guys do in the last 5 minutes? Today it was 19-4 last 5.
They make me nervous. That's the first thing they do. We've been in so many really tough games in our conference that it's really helped us. And I think that our bench helps us also. We have a little bit more depth.
You know, you've been so reliant on your freshman point guard, who's a terrific kid, a tough kid, Bobby Hurley. Tough day for him today. Had to leave the court in the first half. Second half looked to be laboring a little bit. Did you have to say anything to him?
Well, Mike, he was really in trouble because he had diarrhea, and he was really sick. And I just told him, I said, take your rest on offense. Let Phil help you a little bit, bring it down, and play as long as you can. And he's just a courageous kid. The other thing I thought that was pretty good for our team is down the stretch, our defense was good. We had pretty good defense.
And when you talk about it, Duke, execution, experience down the stretch, great game by Henderson down the stretch today.
3 big three-point plays. The one that we just saw on the move, then he hits the three-point shot to put us up 73-71, and then he hit that one that seemed like it took about 5 seconds to take. And when he hit that, I thought we had a great chance to win.
Coach, I know you faced Tech 3 times this year. You beat them twice, but your thoughts on the first half here between UNLV and Georgia Tech?
Well, I just got a chance to see the last 8 minutes, and it looked like Tech had the tempo. They have the poise. Anderson's playing great, and then Scott's been unbelievable. I don't know how many points he had in the first half, but 20, and it just seems like every time he shoots, it's going in.
All right, Coach. Congratulations. We'll see you Monday night playing for the national championship. And we'll continue back here at McNichols Arena in Denver in just a moment.
Rebel!
When choosing a new car, don't compromise. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme SL is longer and wider, yet accelerates faster than Ford Taurus. It's more powerful, yet gets better highway gas mileage than Honda Accord. And it has a better owner satisfaction plan than both, which obviously makes Cutlass Supreme the smarter choice all the way around. Now get up to $2,600 cash back on a 1990 Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds dealer today.
The 1991 NCAA Final Four moves to the Indiana Hoosier Dome. To obtain official ticket application information, call 1-900-646-1991 or write the NCAA at this address. Ticket recipients will be selected from a random drawing of applications. Call 1-900-646-1991. 50 cents for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Applications must be received by April 30th, 1990. This message furnished by the NCAA.
My 4 years at Alfred University were probably the best experience of my life. I developed a lot of close relationships, and it gave me the opportunity to play intercollegiate athletics. I know in business, like in athletics, you come back from a setback. That's really, I think, really what business is. You don't have a good day every day. You don't want to do it every day. But when you do it, you really try your hardest to do it the best, to be the best. And those things I learned. I learned that in athletics.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Lethal Weapon 3, 43 of the 53 Tech points. And Dennis Scott's 20, well, he's 4 out of 6 from three-point land. 7-point lead for Georgia Tech. And right now, let's take you down inside by the locker rooms and join my colleague right now, James Brown. He's outside the Tech locker room. JB.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. I think the headline for this halftime report is one of confidence. Georgia Tech felt that there was no way UNLV could apply any more defensive pressure than they've seen in 3 outings this year against Duke. Also, the Tech coaching staff said an offensive wrinkle that worked well was starting Dennis Scott on the inside. Once he warmed up there, he was absolutely on fire on the outside. Great defense overall, and the Tech players went into the locker room at halftime saying, hey, UNLV is all hype. We're in control. Now let's go over to Leslie Visser.
JB, I spoke with UNLV assistant Tim Gergerich, and he said pretty much what Billy Packer said, that they have to get back on defense. The transition defense is just not working. They're also disappointed with the ball movement in the last 5 minutes of the first half. As for stopping the wondrous Kenny Anderson, he said, look, we know he's terrific. We're going to have to put more pressure on him, indeed on all the lethal weapon. As for those concerned about Stacey Augmon, he merely banged his knee, and they've wrapped it up. They said he'll be fine. Over to you, Jim.
All right, Leslie, you mentioned Kenny Anderson, 13 points, 5 assists here at halftime, and Tech leads it by 7 over UNLV. Will it be an all-ACC final on Monday night? We'll find out when we come back for the second half here on CBS after this message and a word from your local station.
Be a couch potato. Play McDonald's Fries Surprise today. You can still win a trip to Maui, a Big Mac for 69 cents, or $10,000. Hurry it in soon. Sweet potato, did you bring the cocoa butter?
Sure, I hate it when you peel.
Fred Ward is a cop with a problem.
Stole my gun, my badge, my teeth.
Alec Baldwin is the problem.
Police, freeze!
Can this town hold them both?
Definitely.
Oh, no.
Miami Blues, rated R. Starts Friday, April 20th at theaters everywhere.
If you've got yourself a car, and you've got yourself a house, you could be on your way to some very nice savings. Because with Allstate Homeowners Insurance and an excellent driving record, you could save up to 15% on your auto insurance. And 15% could mean big money for all the important little things.
What a day.
The Allstate Auto Advantage, another reason. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
How strong and secure is the advanced space frame chassis of the new Pontiac Transport? Let's just say it carries its own weight. And then some. Transport, the Pontiac of minivans. Another strength of the innovative new Pontiac Transport is that its rust-proof lower body panels resist dents, dings, and even Eddie Jankowski. And here's 1,000 more reasons to see your Pontiac dealer now.
What drives a Laker girl?
Well, the dancing, of course. It's a chance to be around all these half-naked men with great legs.
But also being part of a squad of friends, money, and you get to dance and hang around the Lakers. I really believe in basketball.
The Laker Girls, a world premiere movie Tuesday.
This is CBS.
Right now, only your Ford dealer gives you a rebate and low financing on a new car. For a limited time only, your Ford dealer will give you both 4.8% financing for 48 months plus $750 cash back. That's right. Use the $750 cash back as your down payment. Then with the 4.8% financing for 48 months, you can get a new Ford Escort for about $150 a month. There's never been an offer like this, but it positively ends April 14th. Remember, to get both cash back and low financing, see your Ford dealer today.
We built this business.
To help insure your dreams.
Built this business.
To make you feel safe and secure.
We built this business to build your future.
ITT built these businesses into leaders. We built them by taking care of people.
We built this business. We built this business to build your dreams. Built this business.
CBS Sports coverage of this 1990 NCAA basketball national semifinal game is sponsored by U.S. Sprint and its new world of telecommunications. Pizza Hut, an official NCAA corporate sponsor. Pizza Hut, making it great. And by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
The favorite down 7 points here at the half as Lethal Weapon 3 leading Georgia Tech to a 53-46 lead. And now, Billy, the question is about Jerry Tarkanian and his coaching staff. What can they try to do here in the second half?
Well, Brent, I think they showed too much respect. It's like a boxer that's afraid to get hit. You've got to get hit some to force the tempo in this game. And I think he's got to go out and pressure Georgia Tech, try to get the game a little bit more like Arkansas did against Duke.
Now, Georgia Tech is on a record field goal percentage pace for this game. They are hitting 67%. 63 is the highest ever hit in a semifinal game. Off the fast break, led by the incomparable Kenny Anderson, 18 points. And in that backcourt, Georgia Tech with 25 points, UNLV with 16. Now to keep you up to date on Lethal Weapon 3, 81%, all but 10 of their points so far in this game. And the leading scorers, Scott for Georgia Tech and Larry Johnson with 13 points for UNLV. But UNLV has to show some better defense here in the second half, or they're going to be watching an all-ACC final on Monday night. And here we go. It's Anthony, Johnson, Ogman, Butler, and Hunt on the attack. UNLV in the white.
Good double downs by Georgia Tech, which is forcing Anderson Hunt to shoot from the outside, and he's not taking it.
Ogman, that time, both Anthony and Hunt passed up the outside shots. Now Hunt got his hand on the ball, forced the turnover. Here comes Ogman in on the inside. Missed it, yanked back away by the freshman Mackey.
Good job by Mackey to stay still. Made Ogman commit.
Scott with the ball, punches into the freshman. Vegas forces another turnover. Georgia Tech without a shot here in the second half. Now Hunt gets on the inside. Mackey with the ball, so UNLV had a couple of scoring chances, and they could not cash in on them. Oliver to McNeil.
Unusual shot to take with nobody under the rebound. If you're Bobby Crimmins, you don't want that shot early on in the second half.
It's loaded Johnson. And it's an offensive foul called. That's his second personal.
You know, maybe the most valuable player so far, despite the fact that the trio is having a great game, is McNeil. Because he's playing and stopping Larry Johnson in the low post. Second time today he drew the charge. Good rule on verticality there by the officials. Nice call.
Jerry looked more like Lawrence of Arabia that time when he did a man looking for a towel snack, didn't he? Here's Anderson now.
remember in the Loyola Marymount game, that foul never was used. He was always had great breathing room.
They were up 20 at the half.
That's right.
Won it by 30. Won it breezy. Anderson off this time. UNLV ball, 53-48 now. Anthony bringing it back down.
Great hedge move on defense that last time by Larry Johnson.
Butler wants it in low. They pass him up. Ogman with his regular knee wrap. That other one they put on is now off. The three from Anthony is on the money. 53-51. UNLV climbs back in a hurry. Anderson comes the distance. They put him on the free throw line.
Brent, if you're going to play against Kenny Anderson, you cannot afford to turn your head and not see the ball at all times. That's what's happening to UNLV. When they run back down the court, they don't get their eye on the ball, and he just penetrates right on by him, either with the dribble or the pass.
Moses Scurry into the game, and Johnson sits back down. Butler on the floor with 3 personal fouls right now, and Anderson stepping to the line.
And what this does, it puts a lot of pressure on Hunt to have to make some jump shots, because Scurry, you go from a great scorer down to a non-scorer. Fans thought that maybe Greg Anthony had fallen with the ball on the floor, but that wasn't the case.
Scurry steps out high. Anthony. Good rebound by Oliver as he comes out. Spins past Anthony, who comes from the rear and can't catch him.
Great play by Stacey Augman. Sensational defense.
And it goes against Mackey, his second personal foul, as you take another look.
Stacey got a piece of that ball because Oliver is a very good finisher himself on the break. Georgia Tech a little out of sync here in the second half, but Dennis Scott has not touched the ball. And I think the next time down the floor, Bobby Crimmins is going to make sure that Dennis handles it and gets some kind of shot off.
Anthony bringing it up now for UNLV. They're down by 3.
This is a good defensive team on the floor now for Georgia Tech as far as matchup.
Deep to Butler.
Take it out right here.
And McNeil, trying to deny him the ball, commits his second personal. Tarkanian's strategy is pretty obvious. Try to pound the ball in a little bit lower than they did in the first half. Get away from some of that outside perimeter shooting game.
I think if you're playing Butler at this time, you should play behind him, let him touch the ball, then double down on him, just like they did there.
Through the foul, and he'll come up to that free throw line. Tarkanian starting to pace. He is not sitting back and relaxing and enjoying this one. This is not the kind of dogfight that the Runnin' Rebs expected here this afternoon.
First team all-conference in the Big West. Last year was the leading scorer and rebounding for UNLV.
He'd hit 10 of 17 in the tournament.
Brent has already had one national crown to his credit. San Jacinto in the National Junior College Championship.
Now Anderson into the paint. Hunt off with the missed shot. They run him into an Ogman screen, but he comes back, knocks it into Scurry's hands. An opportunity basket for the Runnin' Rebs. They have outscored Georgia Tech 7-1 this half. They are back now to within 1 point.
Well, if you're Georgia Tech here, you want to make sure that Dennis Scott touches the ball. He has not been involved offensively the entire second half.
Ogman sticking with Scott. Down on the low blocks. Denying him the ball. Coming out now with Scott to the top. They're going to run on a screen, and Ogman on a switch, and Anderson comes the distance.
Great
Off
defense.
The miss, it's Scurry.
Great defensive set that time. Ogman has got Scott, and he's open.
Hunt's got the 3, and UNLV moves to the lead. Timeout, Bobby Crimmins and Georgia Tech.
you got it right, you got it right. Whether you're talking about this, or whether you're talking about the one and only Diet Cola that does it for Ray, Diet Pepsi. You know, nothing tastes as good to me as Diet Pepsi. All right, now, who was the wise guy?
Diet Pepsi with 100% NutraSweet.
Now, that's the right one, baby.
Quiet down, please. The festivities are for Dwayne tonight. Dwayne, what's it been, 34 years? 34 years. All that time, I don't think Dwayne ever missed a delivery. I guess that means this division never missed a delivery.
Way to go, Dwayne.
Happy retirement, Dwayne.
Boy, good guy.
Now it's our turn to deliver.
Mass Mutual. We hope you keep your promises.
The time has come for a new kind of full-size luxury. The 1991 Chevrolet Caprice. It has more safety features than ever before. Like the control of standard four-wheel anti-lock brakes. You see, we didn't stop at its beautiful design. We also designed it to stop beautifully. The time has come for the new Chevrolet Caprice. Prepare to be impressed.
Decision time. Do you go for it or don't you? A tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS Sports.
Tonight on Saturday Night with Connie Chung, Exxon Valdez captain Joseph Hazelwood. He was blamed for one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history, the Alaskan oil spill. For the first time on TV, Captain Hazelwood speaks out tonight on Saturday Night with Connie Chung. Here's second national semifinal, 16-19 to go, 56-54. UNLV back in the lead. They've outscored Georgia Tech 10-1 this half. Georgia Tech held only one field goal over the last 7:50 of this game, going back to the first half.
Ogman playing Scott head-to-head out here.
All over him now. Denying him the ball. They cannot find their ace. So Anderson will take it himself, and Ogman reached in on him. He's doing it everybody defensively. Loose, picked up by Johnson. Bad pass is into the hands of Brown.
He should get it back out.
Now they find Scott on the perimeter, and he misses. Johnson with a rebound is fouled by Oliver.
Brent, what I think Georgia Tech is going to have to do now that Vegas has picked it up defensively, they're going to have to set solid screens for Dennis Scott to force the switch so that they can get Ogman off him to get him started. That was his first shot in the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the second half, of which he has no points after scoring 20 in the first half.
Now for the first time, that haunting cry of rebels, rebels. You can probably hear it all the way to the casinos in Las Vegas. Johnson's on the low block. McNeil rebounded. Oliver coming in. He'll come up and shoot a pair, and it would have been good had it gone.
You know, when you watch Kenny Anderson's eyes as he's dribbling up the court, he's like a surgeon. You know, he's looking, where do I put the scalpel? You know, dissecting the floor and ready to make that move. But the key now is, how do you free up Dennis Scott? Augmentation, did we say at the top of the show? That's what he's saying.
.56-55, a 1-point Rebel lead, 15-12 to go. Johnson again. This time they go to Anthony. Off the penetration. Yanked down strongly by Oliver.
Some rebound for a guard.
Tech 0 of 7 from the floor. Trying to get something going. Mackey finds Anderson working the baseline. He'll hit Scott. And it's going to go over. The foul is against Georgia Tech.
How about Stacey Augman? You talk about the nation's #1 defender. He's guarding Scott, but that's the second time in the last 3 sequences down floor that he's been the man to come over and help out. That time drawing the charge.
The answer to Lethal Weapon 3 is a man by the name of Stacey Augmon. Anderson with 3 personal fouls now for Georgia Tech.
Butler can shoot the jumper from there.
Back to Hunt. Strong rebound by Johnson, who has it knocked away by Scott again, but into Butler's hands. And it'll be Augmon going after it. Again. And this time, Mackey wraps it up. And Oliver on the offense, it'll count.
Brent, a lot of teams have 2 players of this magnitude offensively, but none have we seen in a long time in college basketball that have 3. And here's what's so tough. This time it's Oliver. He made the power rebound on the other end of the floor, takes that body inside against Larry Johnson and sends him off for the layup.
Johnson with 3, Butler with 3. With Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. 57-56, 13:59 to go, and Georgia Tech was ahead until Stacey Augmon took it outside, and now he's scored 16. He's the high man for the Rebs, and he has taken charge at both ends. Oliver, short. Augmon with a rebound. Seems like every 5 seconds, Billy,
he's everywhere.
His name.
He's everywhere.
Butler.
Jump shot.
The low block starting to wear down Georgia Tech. 61-57.
Brent, what I think's wearing them down is the fact that they can't get their ace open to shoot, because Stacey Augmon's just got him blanketed.
Wait for the ball. And now
that was a call.
Augmon and Scott with a couple of words there on the inside.
Stacey does use some smart play with grabbing a guy around the waist and holding Dennis Scott, but Dennis Scott has not been moving. He's accepted the defensive pressure.
Moses Scurry replacing Johnson, and McNeil back in. Augmon now joining Johnson and Butler, all 3 playing with 3 fouls here, Billy.
And Kenny Anderson starting to bend over and grab those shorts, a sign of fatigue that we see so often on the college level. Good switch by Moses Scurry.
Scott just cannot get his game going here in this half. Augmon denying him the ball. Now he gets it, backs in, muscle, goes in and travels.
Great defense again. They've got him frustrated. And Brent, the only way they're going to get Dennis Scott open is to set screens for him. He's not going to be able to post up down low. And you notice that Vegas has gone strictly man-to-man the second half. He got going when they went zone in the first half.
Anthony.
Over the back.
Both Scurry and Butler going up, and it's going to be Butler who's going to be assessed his 4th personal, a big call in this game at the 12:30 mark.
Little sidebar officiating right there. One official said, "I've got the call," the other one jumping in on him, and little teamwork.
So Butler with 8 points and 8 rebounds will sit down, and Johnson with 3 personals. Remember, Augmon has 3, so foul trouble starting to mount up on the Rebs. 61-57, UNLV leading it by 4.
Augmon just fights his way through Mackey's screen.
The defense has held Tech to 1 of 9 from the field this half. Goes against the Rebs. That's 4 on Scurry, Billy.
When you start talking about percentage that the starters score, Georgia Tech's starters scored 96% of the offense in the tournament. UNLV way down to 76%. So you can see how important it is for Bobby Crimmins to figure out a way to get Dennis Scott moving here. He just doesn't have points coming off that bench.
17 fouls against Las Vegas this half. 5 on Georgia Tech. Scurry.
Augman for the lob.
Intercepted on a short pass and then knocked away from McNeil on the floor. The scramble. Scott wins it, but into Anthony's hands. Hunt's open.
Boy, Moses Scurry is banging in there.
Now it's Johnson's turn. Knocked away again. This time it is Oliver in the middle. Anthony. And it's away by Augman. What a play defensively. 2-on-1. Johnson misses. And Scurry is wrapped up and fouled by Anderson. And that is number 4 on the freshman point guard.
Brent, we are seeing one of the great defensive stands by an individual player, Stacey Augman, just doing a sensational job. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year in the nation, and what a half he is playing now. The shot goes in, he makes the steal, gets the ball back, and starts the break.
Timeout, 11:38.
The world's most accurate weather radar data is gathered by the WSI Corporation using the reliable 800 service of U.S. Sprint, the network that came through Hugo when AT&T did not.
Let's get that image up. The networks are waiting for the feed.
And if Sprint's nationwide fiber optic network can handle the moods of Mother Nature,
The front of this hurricane shouldn't miss us.
it can handle any business climate. Reliable all fiber optic 800 service only from U.S. Sprint.
If you've got yourself a car, and you've got yourself a house, you could be on your way to some very nice savings. Because with Allstate Homeowners Insurance and an excellent driving record, you could save up to 15% on your auto insurance. And 15% could mean big money for all the important little things.
What a day.
The Allstate Auto Advantage, another reason. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
This is the pump. This is the interesting pump. It works right here. You have a little ball on the front, and you just like pump it up. You pump the tongue, and it has an air bladder inside that compresses the air in the shoe.
So you can put it up to the level, where you want it.
That's good when you're playing basketball, You need comfort. So. Give me that. And when you want to release it, it's a button on the back. And you push it, and it releases the air. Ooh, where do you get these? You must be bad or something. Pump it up.
Downtown Denver tonight, the Republic Plaza building, the tallest there with the lights on, honoring our Final Four, and already Duke has eliminated Arkansas and advanced to Monday night's championship game. How about Lethal Weapon 3? Rather quiet. 43 in the first half, and this half only 4 as UNLV comes to play a little defense here in the second 20 minutes.
Jerry Tarkanian has junked the zone defense. Really sticking him, showing no more respect like he did in that first half.
On the inside, blocked back into Johnson's hands, and he hits it. 15 for the game now. And it's 63-57. Billy, is this one getting away as Brown has come in to run the offense for Georgia Tech?
Well, without Kenny Anderson in the game, obviously they have nobody to initiate the offense. That's not Oliver's role. They go back to the zone now with Kenny Anderson out of the game. Scott trying to find himself a spot to take a three. He's over there with Scurry. Here it goes.
There's his three, and starts to light it up here.
Well, I don't know why Jerry Tarkanian would have gotten out of the man-to-man. It was so effective, particularly with Kenny Anderson out of the game.
He may be resting.
Could be.
He may be sitting back and gambling here, but in the meantime, it's down to a three-point lead. Now it's Johnson on the low blocks, missing. Mackey wraps it up, and if they can find Scott again, he can tie it. He's open over there on that wing. He wants it.
He did. He wanted to bounce pass through the defenders, and probably a good choice by Brown.
By the time they got it to him, Scurry had stepped up.
Yep.
Now he's going to go through. And Brown finds himself open, and so he hits it. And it's a one-point game.
Valuable game by Brown off the bench. Here's a finisher.
Ogman.
I'll throw one out at you. How would you like to have Ogman finishing and Kenny Anderson starting the break? Is that some? Now that's a lethal weapon.
Oliver coming around Johnson, and Johnson fouled him. That's number 4.
And here's a good hit ahead by Greg Anthony. Stacey Ogman, who just looks over the defense and then takes that one rammed home. MVP of the Western Regional, certainly deserved it, and he's working on an MVP performance here.
UNLV now with major foul problems on the inside. Johnson, Butler, and Scurry, 4 apiece. Ogman with 3. Kenny Anderson out with 4. So for the time being, it'll be Ogman, Scurry, and Butler. Johnson sitting down here at the 9:42 mark. So the Rebs are in foul trouble. Vegas lead.
They'll look to Butler inside.
Anthony puts it down. Earns his way up to that free throw line.
He's a fearless competitor.
3 on Mackey.
Started out at Portland as a freshman. The WCAC was the freshman of the year in that league, and then transferred back to his hometown, where as a high school player he led his high school team to the state championship. So Greg Anthony knows how to win. And without Kenny Anderson in the game, it'd be interesting to see if UNLV would try to press here. Not a bad idea.
.9:23 left in regulation.
Back to man-to-man. They didn't stay in the zone long.
McNeil's at the top. Butler. Ogman on the wing, comes back on top, Hunt. Anthony bounces it into Scurry. Gets the roll. Now Brown quickly to the attack, and here's Oliver. Goaltending, put it down. That time Ogman was a little bit too good defensively. 17 for Oliver.
He glided all the way across the lane. You can see him coming out of the side of your picture. To get a piece of that, I thought it was a good block. Matter of fact, sensational block. I think it might have surprised the official. You can pin the ball on the board in the college game. I think it was sensational block. Yes, sir.
69-66, UNLV, 8:30. Ogman. Magnificent performance. 20 points. Great job defensively on Dennis Scott. Doing it all here. 8-11. Now Scott, the 3. He has to do a great job defensively to keep him under control. Ogman trying to break free, and with his reach, knocked it out of bounds. Georgia Tech ball. They can tie it this trip.
Give a little applause that time for Dennis Scott. Hit the 3, realized Stacey Ogman took off to go in the other direction, and hustled back down court on defense.
Scott now has hit 6 3-pointers in this game. And they would have counted if the Denver Nuggets had been playing here with Nichols.
No way. Get away.
Missing that time into the hands of Scurry.
not a good shot.
Hard to say that about Dennis Scott, though, but I know what you mean.
Stacy looking to drive again. He's gaining confidence on the offensive end.
Anthony, the three. 74-69, 7:25 in regulation. Anthony with 3 3-pointers.
But I think it's time for Kenny Anderson to get back into this ball game. If you're Bobby Crimmins, you can't hold him much longer.
Scurry rebounds the miss. Anthony has Butler.
Time for the timeout, and Kenny Anderson in the lineup.
The running Rebs take charge in Denver, but there's a lot of time left.
Chevrolet introduces the bigger-than-ever 4-door Chevy S10 Blazer. Now America's best-loved sport utility vehicle gives you 4 doors and standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes. The bigger-than-ever, better-than-ever 1991 4-door S10 Blazer. Open one and see why nobody's winning like
Heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
Yeah, I'm busy, but I still like to keep in touch with the guys in LA. And the guys in Kansas City. Give me a way to say when I want to call.
AT&T can design a Reach Out America plan to please anyone, even the toughest customer.
Bo knows long distance.
Don't be a couch potato. Play McDonald's Fries Surprise today. You can still win a trip to Maui, a Big Mac for 69 cents, or $10,000. Hurry, it ends soon. Sweet potato, did you bring the cocoa butter?
Sure, I hate it when you peel.
The perfect killer is out there. He has the first power, immortality. He could be anyone, anywhere. Blue Diamond Phillips, the first power. Rated R. Starts Friday, April 6th.
A father pulls his drowning boy from their pool. Can police help win this race against time?
All I want to do is to save that boy's life.
Rescue 911, Tuesday.
The power of UNLV at work. Expressions tell it all. 3 timeouts apiece now, and the Wizard is back. Kenny Anderson, who has struggled a little bit here in the second half with 4 personals on the floor. Georgia Tech down 76-69, and Tech has been held to 31% this half. Entirely different than the first half, and Johnson has just picked up number 5, and that could start to turn this around.
Time to put some moisture on that towel, Jerry Tarkanian, because now that inside game changes a lot. And although he's got Moses Scurry to put in, who my old buddy Al McGuire said makes it the best front line in college basketball, Scurry hasn't let him down so far today. Happened to be at the right place at the right time, and that errant pass, remember earlier on, Brett and a half, that really got UNLV on the roll. First team All-American goes out. MVP of their tournament and regular season in the Big West.
There has been some speculation.
He's shown more stamina than any player on the court today. In either game. Larry Johnson going out does, it only allows Vegas to have one threat down on the inside, so Bobby Crimmins can go with his smaller lineup. Brown, Anderson, and Oliver and Scott to surround, and makes for tough matchups for UNLV. We're at the 6-minute mark. I'll go back to that first game. Here's where Denny Crum told me in the great Houston-Louisville game where he had the big lead, his players just wore out at altitude at Albuquerque.
Here's Scott. Ogman had rotated off of him to the inside, and he could not get that one to stay. And Scurry powerfully down on the turnover. Anderson will bring it back. Spinner. He's got it.
Fun to watch.
Put it down. It's a 2-point game now. 5:21. Here's Hunt. The three. Bingo. 79-74 now. 5:14 regulation.
Go back to the top of the show. We talked about the Hunter and the Hunted. And you can't fault the backcourt from Vegas today in regard to what they've done offensively.
Oliver penetrates beautifully. Didn't stay down. Scurry. With Johnson in foul trouble. It's been Scurry off the bench. 8 rebounds now. Anthony pounded it inside. All got away with the travel, and then I think he hurt his knee. Here is Hunt coming up with a jump shot. Tap back by Butler. Anderson leading the way, and Ogman is there. Ogman stuck with him, and he shifted. And there's a foul on Hunt. That's the first personal foul on Anderson Hunt. That was an interesting duel when Anderson brought it down and was face-to-face with Stacey Ogman.
Great picture there. Stacey Ogman went over to Kenny Anderson. I think great mutual admiration between those two young men, saying, hey, you're some defender. And I think that you see Stacey going out and probably a compliment, and you're some ball player yourself. This fella right here has been the story of the game.
Scott's
over to the bench and say, are you sure you're going out of the game? Because I want to get something going, son. Sit here a while.
Young is checked back in, number 33, very young for UNLV.
What's the elevation in Leicester, England? Because Brown doesn't seem to be getting tired at all.
He was a soccer player.
Oh, is that
was his athletic background.
That's going.
The three again for Anderson Hunt. Number 5. It's 82-74 at the 4-minute mark, and Anderson trying to get something going, and Hunt did a good job there that time. Oliver, beautiful inside move. Timeout is called by Crimmins. 3:55. It's a 6-point lead by Jerry Tarkanian and the Runnin' Reds.
Mobile communication is the power to hold your world together. At GTE, we can put that power at hand to take with you where it has never gone before. Into the skies, down endless highways, beyond all past limitations. At GTE, we give you the freedom of personal communication and the power of new opportunities. Because at GTE, the power is on.
Welcome to Lumina Sedan. It has been designed with care for you and yours.
Listen to the heartbeat.
With rear doors that open wide, plenty of room for the family to enjoy. And even Scotchgard fabric protector comes standard. The family Lumina Sedan. When it comes to new ideas, nobody's winning like.
Heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
Michelin high-performance radials. Everything you'd expect from a Michelin, only faster.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Brent Musburger with Billy Packer. Welcome back to McNichols Arena, Denver, Colorado. UNLV, which trailed at the half, now leads Georgia Tech 82-76. Tech with a couple of timeouts. UNLV with 3. The possession error in case the ball is held up. And that ball will be awarded to Georgia Tech. Fouls, a big problem in both games. Already Larry Johnson's out for the runner rep. Butler and Scurry 4 apiece, and Anderson with 4 for Georgia Tech. Now, Billy, the clock says 3:55 to play. But those of us who grew up around the Big Ten know that whenever Georgia Tech plays, there's at least 3:56, 3:57.
And as
just kidding,
cries,
folks, down in Atlanta. Just kidding. Anthony brings it back down now, and they'll set the table here. It's 82-76. Hunt gets on the inside, and the foul is going to be called against Brown, who's on the floor. He thought he took the charge that time. That's his 4th personal.
Well, Brent, he just didn't get there in time. Excellent screening by Moses Scurry. You can see Carl Brown has played a tremendous game off the bench today. He's going to move these feet, but he just doesn't get there in time. Wasn't planted.
Hunt chips in 19 points and 6 assists. And remember last Sunday in the regional final against Loyola Marymount, he scored 30. Do you notice that black mourning band on the Vegas uniforms? You saw it when he shot. You'll see it again as he gets ready here to shoot the second one. That is in honor of the late Hank Gathers, the great Loyola Marymount star who passed away so tragically back on March 4th and was a friend of many of the players around the country. Tech off with the missed free throw. 3:30 to go now. 83-76.
Gonna be thinking threes. Ogman just won't let Scott touch it. And yet they're still not setting any screens for Scott to get Ogman away from him. See, there's a screen for Oliver to get him free, but they're not doing it for Scott.
Scott has to try and get his own rebound. Brown digs it out. He comes inside with a driving layup, and Ogman was there again defensively, and it's UNLV ball.
Bobby Kimmon's going to try to put some press on. By doing that, obviously there's going to be a point of fatigue for his club, and then your shooting range really falls down.
Did you ever see a picture quite like Jerry Tarkanian? He's sitting over there, holding his head, pass it out, look at his. Scott has been held by Ogman to 2 of 5, Billy, this half.
And we're talking about straight man-to-man, too. It hasn't been double teaming and helping. He just took him on as a challenge. UNLV using some clock now.
Touch pass to Scurry. No foul, no blood, I guess. Not called that time. 85-76. 2:30.
Now there's an opportunity. See, you set the screen, you can free him up.
Which they did, and Scott buries the 3, and that's his 7th of the game. 29 points, despite this subpar for him anyway. Second half. 85-79, but they're still dangerous with shooters like that at 210, and Johnson having fouled out of the game.
Anderson Hunt making some very good decisions, not penetrating too far.
Now it's Butler. Swing to Scurry, and he hammered it too hard. Laid it off the glass. Ogman watching. Scott puts it down on him, gets on the inside, and misses the runner. Scurry with the rebound. So Ogman overplaying him, and Scott put the dribble to him. Now inside of a minute and a half left in regulation. 6-point game. Just 2 Scott threes. But first they've got to get the ball back from the refs. He lost the dribble and tapped it to Hunt. (1:13.17 seconds on that shot clock. They're going to have to put somebody on this line now pretty soon. Ogman. It's fouled by Scott, and Ogman goes down hard.
He's so flexible, he almost hit his head on the board and pulled it down underneath. Remember that Stacey Ogman played, obviously, on our Olympic team, along with Bimbo Coles, the only two guys left, as you talked about earlier. He has been a great international player for America. Played on the World University Games and the World Championship team.
You know, Billy, during the regular season, he hit only 66% of his free throws. But coming into this game, he was 14 of 7. He's hit his only free throw. So he's 15 of 18. He's another one of the players who has upped his game in the NCAA tournament. Connie Chung will be coming up next. .104 to go. 86-79. Now it's 87-79. Ogman with 22, 9 rebounds. It's Scott. Not there. Brown rebounding it. Dribbles it to 3.
He's looking for Scott, but Ogman's on him. He can't find him.
So they find Oliver.
He stepped.
He traveled. Big turnover with 45 seconds to go. And now Anderson Hunt telling the crowd in the Rebel corner to celebrate this one. Brown fouling Anthony. And Brown is fouled out of the game. And now the Duke student body, as you see a very tearful Lois Tarkanian, the wife of that man. There, the Duke student body is pointing over at the UNLV student body saying, "We want you." And UNLV saying, "We'll be there." Tarkanian wanting a timeout. So he'll use a timeout. UNLV 87, Georgia Tech 79.
Hello? Hi, it's Cousin Harry from America. I'm on my way and I'll see you tomorrow.
The world has gotten smaller. We want to see it and talk to it. The new AT&T Universal Card helps make it all possible. It's Visa or MasterCard and the power of AT&T. The AT&T Universal Card. One world, one card.
Attaboy, Johnny. Attaboy. Two with the ball. Out to the right. Comes in. Attaboy. Yeah, that's it. See the basket. Mitchell shoots. Oh.
The board, Johnny. Use the board.
As a proud sponsor of the NCAA, Pizza Hut salutes all the Charlie Mitchells out there, because we know how hard it is not just to make it, but to make it great.
4 seconds to go in overtime. Mitchell, right side of the lane, dribbles left. He shoots off the glass. Yes, he scores! Charlie Mitchell at buzzer!
Attaboy, Johnny. Attaboy.
Lethal Weapon 3 has been augmentized here in McNichols Arena. The 3 stars for Georgia Tech put in 43 points in the first half and only 24 here in the second half. And UNLV's balanced attack, all 5 starters, including Stacey Ogman, in double figures. And Moses Scurry off the bench chipped in 9 big rebounds and 6 points. He was a factor as Larry Johnson got into foul trouble and left. So Jerry Tarkanian in his third Final Four is now 44.8 ticks of the clock away from going to his first ever championship game. He had been eliminated previously by North Carolina and then a few years ago in New Orleans by Bob Knight in Indiana. Missed free throw. Anderson will hurry. Anthony with him.
Anderson realizing he's got to get threes, otherwise he would have penetrated on that play.
Oliver goes for the 2. 30 seconds to go. A quick timeout is called. Down 6. Georgia Tech is not about to quit. That's a team that still believes in miracles. We're coming right back.
I tell you about that? No.
When Dick Mankiewicz joined UPS in 1960,
You still got to work. Still got to deliver the bundles.
we didn't go to Bangkok or Budapest.
Looking good, Mankiewicz.
We didn't even go to West Virginia then.
Very icy, very slippery. You want to take extra care as you're driving out there. Let's go out and have a good one.
We didn't have our own fleet of planes or 100,000 vehicles or the capacity to deliver more packages more efficiently than any company on Earth. But thanks to people like Dick Mankiewicz,
Hey, how you doing, Norm?
Oh, hi, Dick.
we do now.
Some window.
All the buyouts and mergers sweeping the country, I just got swept out of a job. 2 kids in college, still paying on the house with the sweeping view. So you might ask, Jim, why are you so relaxed? Well, I'll make it through. Because 20 years ago, I bought the right kind of life insurance.
Life insurance for living from Northwestern Mutual Life. Ranked first in dividend performance more times than any other company over the last 50 years. The Quiet Company.
Chevrolet introduces the bigger-than-ever 4-door Chevy S10 Blazer. Now America's best-loved sport utility vehicle gives you 25% more cargo room and 100% more doors. The bigger-than-ever, better-than-ever 1991 4-door S10 Blazer. Open one up and see why nobody's winning like
Heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. Taste truck is Chevrolet.
Well, Billy, what happens now?
Well, now you've got to foul the rest of the way. UNLV has on the floor a team that really is not a very good free throw shooting team. So you don't have to pick out a certain guy. I'd say you go for it as soon as that ball gets in bounds.
The free throw shooting percentages are there. It's doubtful that Scurry will handle the ball.
Well,
he's going to take it out of bounds.
Sure.
Right.
Smart move by Jerry Tarkanian. As soon as somebody touches it, though, you foul them. Don't worry about who it is.
It'll be Anthony coming to the free throw line. The clock down to 28.8.
And Brent, there has not been a bigger topic of discussion in the coaches' lobbies than this particular play right now. The intentional foul call. What the coaches are really concerned, what are we going to do about the last 2 minutes of the basketball game? And nobody really has come up with a solution that I've heard that everybody likes.
What's happening here is within the rules, and so obviously Bobby Crumman's going to try to take advantage of it.
Everybody in the gymnasium, including the 3 refs, know the foul is going to be committed.
The agony of Lois Tarkanian as another free throw is missed. 27 seconds. They've got to hurry now. Anderson needs to find Scott.
Taking a lot of time.
Finally finds him at the top. Ogman out on him. Misfired. Scurry with his 10th rebound of the game. 13 seconds to go. Butler now to Hunt. And Butler to finish. He's got it. That'll do it. Yes, sir. A big sigh of relief.
2 ladies who have agonized, Mrs. Tarkanian and Mrs. Molesky, who have really supported this program. Good pass and a good job by Hunt here to go for the score, because if you pull it back out, they're going to foul you anyway. Here come the beats.
Almost.
I knew they were in there somewhere.
That was almost a turnover.
Yeah.
So a great run by Lethal Weapon 3 is coming to an end. UNLV goes to its first ever NCAA championship game. It'll be Las Vegas against Duke Monday night. The Chevrolet players of this game, Stacy Ogman. Georgia Tech shot 67% in the first half and only 34% in the second half. Ogman led the way at both ends. Dennis Scott still managed to score 29, but it was tough going in the second half. And Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. And we'll come back and hear from Jerry Tarkanian